Welcome to Business Zone. I am Yemisi Lanre Ido. British oil explorer Tullow has signed production agreement with the government of Kenya. The deal paves way for the first consignment of crude oil from Turkana fields to be transported to Mombasa for export. The pact draws the roadmap for Kenya's early oil export that is expected to pump out 2,000 barrels per day. Kenya's Energy Secretary Charles Kita says the agreement covers both legal and technical issues, and Kita disclosed that the type of oil discovered in Kenya will fetch higher prices in the global market as it is easy to refine. Kenya plans to move between 2,000 and 4,000 barrels of oil per day using flatbed trucks. Zimbabwe has officially opened its tobacco selling season with hopes that the crop can help ease the country's financial problems. But the governor of Zimbabwe's central bank, John Mangudia, says the southern African nation earns about $800 million a year from tobacco. Hundreds of farmers are waiting to sell their crops, but many of them have expressed concern that they may not access their money due to the country's cash shortage. Agriculture Minister Joseph Madi says the quality of tobacco has improved due to expanded irrigation programs.
The number of our tobacco farmers continue to grow, with 82,699 growers having registered, a figure that is 16% more compared to yesteryear.
Egyptians can now sell their trash for cash. A waste management company in the country's capital collects solid trash from people and gives them cash in return. Cairo's waste is currently managed by its local government as well as informal trash collectors who go door to door collecting garbage and later picking out recyclable material on the outskirts of the city. And according to the figures issued by the State Statistics Bureau, nearly 5 million tons of garbage were collected in the greater Cairo area in 2014. But the Cash for Trash project is to ease the gigantic waste management problems afflicting the city of about 18 million people. The initiative, first proposed by two lawmakers and later embraced by Cairo's local government, which issued permits and leased land free of charge to private investors running the solid waste stations. Well, latest statistics show that Nigeria's inflation rate dropped marginally from the first time since 2015. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the inflation rate dropped from 18.72% in January to 17.78% in February 2017. And it is the first time in 15 months that the consumer price index has declined on year-on-year basis. And despite the progress seen in the core inflation rate, food prices remain on the rise, with a surge in the food index from 17.82% in January to 18.83% in February. Joining me on Skype now to discuss this latest inflation figure is an investment analyst, Ibrahim Babalola. Many thanks for your time, Ibrahim.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you. Yes, just with this good news of this latest statistics, of course, released by the Bureau of Statistics for February, it indicates a slight drop in inflation. But despite that, we'll see that food prices remain on the rise. What's your opinion? What influenced the rate of the inflation rate as it is?
Oh, okay. Again, thank you for having me on your program. The drop in headline inflation numbers largely as a result of the base effect. Last year February was when we had the hike in electricity tariff. I think it was over 45% hike in electricity tariff. We then influenced the jump in inflation figures last year. So the decline in the headline inflation for February was just based on the high base effect. But when you look at the month-on-month movement, you see that again, as you mentioned, prices are still largely very pressured. Headline inflation rose by 1.5% in February relative to 1.0% in January, and the food index was the largest contributor to this rise, as I mentioned, the food index rose by 18.5% in February relative to 17.8% in January. So we saw highest increase in prices of bread, of cereals, fish, meat, potato, yam, and other tubers. And the food index is the largest contributor to the COICOP index, to the weighting of the inflation.
All right, let's move on now. The Nigerian Customs Service has announced the suspension of the implementation of the payment of import duty on old vehicles. Well, the move is in compliance to an earlier directive by the Senate that the policy, which had generated controversies, be suspended. A statement by the acting public relations officer says the suspension will remain until the service gets the support of the lawmakers in carrying out the exercise. Public affairs commentator Adeni Ikunu speaks on why many are kicking against its development.
I think the reason why many are complaining is because they want the law to take effect retroactively, in terms of the fact that, well, we won't only look at vehicles from this point, we're going to look at vehicles that were brought in before, old vehicles. And I think that is one thing that has made many people decry that particular position. If you want anything to take effect, we agree with you that it is the civic responsibility of people bringing in vehicles into the country to ensure that that particular thing is done. Then you should try as much as possible to make it progressive, rather than go back to vehicles that certain persons have been using maybe for 5-6 years.
Well, trade unions help to check the welfare of organizations in the country, and they also ensure that the government is responsible to its citizenry. Well, that was the outcome of a meeting held by the Public Service International to discuss the way forward in terms of the trend of privatization of public assets.
The Public Service International, which is a global trade union body, has presence in more than 140 countries and also more than 500 unions in our membership. The Public Service International held our African Regional Council meeting with the view to check the government's resolve in championing human rights, advocating for social justice, and promoting universal access to quality public service in Africa.
It's about the future of the public service. It's about getting back to an average worker, what is due to it. It's about drawing up agenda as to how we can curtail trade union abuses, human rights abuses. It's about how the excesses of those in government, as far as the issue of corruption, can be dealt with. It's about how an average worker within the continent can live a reasonable life. It's about ensuring that there's security of employment. It's about the fact that for the dignity of labor should be restored.
It's not true that there's no money around the world. The fact is that the money is concentrated in few hands, very few hands, and hidden.
Labour leaders present at the conference emphasized the need for government at all levels to ensure workers get access to quality public service.
It's just to harmonize African position, and also, more importantly, to continue to fight for decent work, continue to fight against privatization of public services and also outsourcing of services, which has impoverished our people and our continent. And we must look at policies that will actually add value and improve on our economy, instead of outsourcing services and getting our people out of job.
The same private sector you are mentioning that they are branding about, there are companies owned by people who are in government, either now or previously, who couldn't steal those parastatals. There was no way anybody could have said, I own NEPA. But they will steal money from the system and come out to buy NEPA or, these establishments. So until we get the right people in government, they can fix all these areas within 1 year.
It was concluded at the meeting that public-private partnership does not live up to the expectations of the people, and the strong civil service is key in mitigating risk created by the private sector. Sharon Ijason, TVT News, Lagos.
When we return, we'll be looking at the Central Bank of Nigeria's intervention in the forex market, and joining me to do that is Mokhtar Mohammed. To stay with us. The Central Bank of Nigeria says it will continue to support the interbank market to get the right value for the Naira. The Acting Corporate Affairs Director of CBN, Isaac Okorafor, insists that the parallel market rate will eventually thin out of the currency market. It says that more than $1 billion has been pushed to the foreign exchange market in the last 3 weeks. Well, joining me now to look at this intervention by the central bank is financial and market analyst Mokhtar Mohammed. Thank you, Mokhtar, for joining me. Please. All right, let's start with an assessment of CBN's intervention to stabilize the Naira. In your own view, do you think it's been doing good for the Forex market?
It's obvious it's doing good. If banks are telling customers to come and collect Forex, I mean, that share is doing very good. And if you look at where we were before, the difference is much, from 525 Naira to 450, 460 in the parallel market, and consistently for school fees at 375, 380. Then for the interbank rate as 309. We can see very soon we'll have a convergence, then we'll begin to have all these rate synergies together. All
right. Initially, when the CBN intervened by pumping some dollars into the interbank markets, we saw the Naira strengthening against the dollar. I mean, it was at 525 thereabout, and it dropped to as much as $425 a barrel. But now at the parallel market, we have it back at 455 thereabout. So what do you think is responsible for that?
It's all about demand and supply. So it's all about some people actually need more than what they can get in the bank. The business people, remember the people that bring import, sometimes looking at the time schedule between them getting their clearance, getting their import is sometimes very short. They still patronize them. But even with that, you could see that the exchange rate is coming down and gradually will keep coming down until there's a stability.
Yeah, the CBN says, insists that the parallel market rate will eventually thin out. Do you think it can ever thin out? And do you think the two rate windows can meet at any point?
Well, I don't know whether it can ever thin out, but I think they will meet at a point. But maybe the difference will not be this much. But to say they will have both be operating on the same exchange rate, I don't think we'll get there yet. But the different one thing we must understand about the issue of these dollars Forex market is that this is a monetary policy which seems to be working. But if the physical policy, which is come to either for infrastructure to attract more foreign investors, and I mean creating the windows that whereby people that will bring in their hard currency here, that Forex can be able to exit when they want to exit, and again using those things for job creation, because when you open up an area, they bring in machines, they do into the infrastructure development, then you create job. Until that comes to play out, this for me this is just a stopgap measure by the CBN to say, okay, let's do something. Then let's attract the government, and then both the finance ministry and the CBN will now sit down together, have a way forward on how to stabilize the currency.
Yes, you have said it is a stopgap. Like you actually were thinking of what I actually wanted to say, because some analysts have argued that that intervention by the CBN is just a short-term approach to the issues in the Forex market. But don't you think there should be a law prohibiting the parallel market activities?
Well, I thought so.
Because, of course, we don't have them in other markets.
I thought so, but I don't know how we operate here. Remember, this market has not been a market that is just starting now. Remember, this market was just about 78 at the point. At the point, it was about 500 and something people being in the market. The market was so lucrative, whereby you just go there, put a fixed deposit, collect this thing, and come and sell. And there was no adding any value. It's not about value addition. It's not about even what does it do to the bottom line of the government in terms of tax payment and everything. So I think whether it will stop, it's going to be a difficult thing altogether, because you know where you, and no matter any human being, when you start trying to get into where you used to make something, there's always conflict of interest.
All right, but from your experiences, and I'm sure you've traveled to other climes, what's the practice in selling foreign currencies in other economies? Well,
that's what we're about to do, because in other economies, you just go into the bank, you give them your this thing, and they exchange it for you. You go in the UAE, it's done like that, and even America is done like that. It's even to make it even very easy, like in a country like America, in their airport, travelers that is in Nigeria is there that exchange their own currency and give us their own currency. But some of them come in, we ran even from South Africa. they get the dollar equivalent. But Nigeria is not like that. Our own currency is not accepted. I don't know why. And I think CBN should work in conjunction with a global firm like Travelex to begin to see whereby our naira can be exchanged and we get dollar.
Okay, let's also see the African markets and see how it fared today. Thursday, African markets closed mixed Thursday. I will start first off in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange in South Africa, where equities prices rose by very high margins in late trade. Analysts said investors were repositioning portfolios and the All-Share Index went above 200%. In Nairobi, the stock market closed negatively in response to investors' weak demand for securities. Financial equities were attractive even as the market index dropped by 19%. While going to the Ghanaian bourse, there it closed in the lower territory as well, as many investors moved for profit-taking on their investments. And reports say many investors held back cash to wait to see the performance of the economy in the first quarter. And of course, the Nigerian market closed in green. Investors remained hopeful that the National Savings Bond introduced this week will give them good prospects. All eyes looked to the trading floor. All right, let's talk about this savings bond, Mokhtar. What was your initial reaction to the savings bond issued?
Well, for me, it's a good initiative, first of its kind in Nigeria. It's good. But I'm just not too impressed with the return that we'll be getting, because even the MRI interest rate is 14%. I think and the inflation rate is 17%.
17%. It's way lower.
Way lower. I think the best they would have done for us to have put it at 14%, because now it's more or less like you are losing up to 4% if you are investing there. And some people will say, instead of allowing your money to lie idle, why not just put it there and get that percentage? That's the way I think. But if you look at it from an investment perspective, whereby we go outside to attract foreign investors with the inflation is about 2 or 3%, and we give them a 7.5%. Why are we doing it to our own self that we only attract that, not even up to the interest rate of 14%?
But knowing the antecedents with bonds, I think usually with that's the way it is. It's a long-term kind of investment, really.
Well, it's a long-term investment, but you change the goalpost in the middle of the game and say, no, we are not going to give you 13% again, we are going to be giving 16%. It's not possible. It's not done. It's not done.
Okay. All right, let's look at other African markets. We also see in Johannesburg, as we have it, the African markets closed mixed. And in Johannesburg, South Africa, the biggest economy, equity prices rose. And analysts are saying investors were repositioning portfolios. What happens when that comes into play?
Investors normally reposition portfolio when it comes to price. When they see a good price, they begin to reposition. I think that's exactly what is happening in South Africa. Most of the big firms, especially a big group like the MTN, the shares actually come down, and the investors are beginning to position for upward movement of the firm maybe when its first or second quarter comes out.
All right, the Ghanaian market, on the other hand, closed lower as against what we've been having since the election of in Ghana. But they are saying they are trying to see what the first quarter would look like. But in your view, I'm sure you must have. What do they think it would look like?
I think Ghanaians are going to suffer from what we suffered from when the previous administration came to power with that economic roadmap. I think that's what the Ghanaian market is going to suffer from. There's no definite roadmap economically on how to move the economy. And you know, Ghana economy is in the need of a fresh air. Until that comes in, we'll keep on seeing what we are seeing.
All right, let's get back to the Nigerian market. We'll see with this savings bond. Do you think it's going to have any effects whatsoever with the forex market?
I don't think so, but what we're going to see a high chunk of liquidity, which is actually needed in the system.
Yes. All right. Many thanks for your time. All the time, Mokhtar Mohammed, financial and market analyst. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, crude oil prices stayed mixed in the global market Thursday, just like the African market. And at the London market, the Brent crude trades for $52 per barrel as the price band improves by 50 cents. For the OPEC basket brand, price drops to $48 in early bargain as merchants bargained lower. All right, that's Business Zone for today. Many thanks for watching. I am Yemisi Lanredo. Thank you.